about the flow. And people hate when I say that, but it's about the flow. It's about when you have an idea, and if you have time to act on that idea right away, go do it right then. Just go work on the blog post, the podcast, the idea you're working on. If you don't, write it down in as quickly and as much detail as possible. Otherwise, you're not going to remember it.
Fastlane Founders and a Legacy with Jason Barnard. Each week, Jason sits down with successful entrepreneurs, CEOs, and executives and get them to share how they mastered the delicate balance between rapid growth and enduring success in the business world. How can we quickly build a profitable business that stands the test of time and becomes our legacy? A legacy we're proud of. Fastlane Founders and Legacy with Jason Barnard.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to another Fastlane Founders and Legacy with me, Jason Barnard. A quick hello, and we're good to go. Oh, welcome to the show, Seth Goldstein.
How's it going? How you doing?
I'm doing absolutely fine. It's a delight to have you on the show. I was on your show a few months ago. That was absolutely delightful. And you're podcasting expert. You use podcasts to boost your personal brand and your business brand. And but it's all about content for you, and you use the podcast as the launching pad. But just before we get into that, I always show the search results for my guest's name. Your name is Seth
the trick
Goldstein.
is Seth M. Goldstein. If you do Seth M. Goldstein, I'm all over the place.
Right,
Seth Goldstein is too complex. It's not too complex. It's too common a name. And honestly, Seth Goldstein, the angel investor, I know him personally because we fought for the verified username on Facebook when they first came out with that. We were on chat at 12 midnight, and he got it before me because I had to do a refresh.
Brilliant. So when you have a common name, adding the middle initial disambiguates, and that's a great way to boost
I was a
your
journalist for 6 years, and I made a purposeful. I knew that back then, 2006, the early aughts, and I was like, all right, I'm going to be Seth M. Goldstein. Not a big fan of my middle name. It's plain Jane. It's Michael, but you know, Seth M. Goldstein I come up for, and I have SethGoldstein.me. I have SethGoldstein.net. You know, I have everything around that, but I don't have the .com because you know, Mr. Angel Investor, Turntable.fm, Seth Goldstein out in San Francisco has that. And we joke the thing is we become friendly that way because we're joking about where is everyone on top of, you know, the branded search essentially. So it's always and then there's also a Carnegie Mellon professor named Seth Goldstein. And when you give the EDU, there's no beating that.
Right. So sometimes you become friends with your namesake because you're discussing who's dominating the brand search. Yeah. But now what you do for your own personal brand and your business brand is create a lot of content. And I really want to kind of look into that and focus on how much time it takes to create content for a personal brand. You invest a lot of time.
It can take a lot. But when you get into a flow, it's about the flow. And people hate when I say that, but it's about the flow. It's about when you have an idea, and if you have time to act on that idea right away, go do it right then. Just go work on the blog post, the podcast, the idea you're working on. But if you don't, write it down in as quickly and as much detail as possible. Otherwise, you're not going to remember it. And that's the biggest thing I've learned. And it's not because I'm ADD, which I am, but you know, it's anyone and their mother will forget that brilliant idea. And it's kind of almost a cliche now, but leave a notepad or your phone with a notepad open next to your bed at nighttime. Goes against everything about getting good night's sleep. But if you wake up with a good idea, you're not going to fall back to sleep because you're going to try to remember it. Write it down and then go back to sleep. And then the next morning you look at it, and sometimes the idea is total garbage. And sometimes they're brilliant. Sometimes some of the best ideas come to me when I'm not, the actual writing down isn't accessible. So I always make sure I have a notepad somewhere handy.
Okay, right. Well, I use my phone. I've got the vocal recorder on the phone, so I don't even have to turn the light on. I just record an audio. And
I'm not coherent at 3 o'clock in the morning. I've tried that, and it's a blah, 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 blah. And I spend more time deciphering it, putting it into AI, saying, what the heck did I just say? AI shrugs and says, Seth, you're on your own, buddy. So when AI says no way or gives you some gobbledygook that makes no sense, it's better to just write it down.
Right. So for creating content, you focus on podcasts and then you repurpose. So is it more podcast guesting or podcast hosting?
I'm a very big on podcast hosting. I do guest, especially when someone like, as esteemed as yourself asks me to be on your show. I'm like, Jason wants to be on a show? Yeah. But I've been getting more into guesting lately because I find that it helps my podcast grow as well. Like Entrepreneurs Enigma, which is a self-plug right there for my show, which I had Jason on. But I found that I like to host because I'm a former journalist. I like to say a recovering journalist. And it never quite left me. So I like to ask questions. I like to learn about people and all that stuff. So what I do is I do a 25-minute podcast. I then slice it and dice it in Opus Clip or Momento or Minvo, whatever they're called now. AI gets their hands on it and kind of gives me some ideas for clips. I always go in there and edit them because it's never perfect because AI is AI. It's not human. But so, I mean, production wise for me, I'd say for an episode, because I produce it myself. I mean, I edit it and all that stuff together. Editing the show together because I know where I went with it. 15-20 minutes, it's about a minute, 2 minutes to every minute for me because I've gotten that efficient with it. And we're also not trying to do NPR quality here. We're not trying to do National Public Radio quality show here. We're trying to do a podcast, so it's a little different, where you don't have to get out every and ah, and you don't have to talk like Terry Gross and all that stuff. But and then what I'll do is I will then put in an Opus clip it up, schedule those out, with the topics that I want to talk about, get this out to social media. I will then also put them into a newsletter that I do every week called Marketing and Junto, and I'll advertise the podcast. I'll have it's almost like a late night TV show. It's like come out, you have your monologue, and then you have your special guest, which is the podcast, and then you have kind of like, I know at least in the States, Jimmy Fallon does like this no cards, and there's a little skit. So those are all the found links I have, that interesting things I find. A quick ad break, and then I have other weird and wacky web finds, and that takes me longer. That would probably take me 3 hours to put together a weekly newsletter fully, give or take. Sometimes it's faster. It's coming up with that monologue that's the hardest thing.
So, and if you passed it all on to somebody else, it would presumably take a lot longer, and it wouldn't be as good, or would it be as good?
I think that parts of it can be passed on. And we're talking about this pre-show, that it's just getting it out, the process out of my head on the paper while I'm still enjoying the process. So that when I'm not enjoying the process, I can say, here's the SOP, go run with it. So I'm in the process of processing. I guess that works. Yeah. Process of processing my methods, so that I can one day get a VA and say, hey, here's what I do. I'll do X, Y, and Z of this. Like you're on the show right now. We're talking all that. You honestly can't be a podcast without Jason on the show because it's your show. But then you can hand it off to someone saying, can you edit this, get this clip out, do this and stuff like that. You can go about working on your business, which is kind of key. So I'm trying to streamline that so that, I'm still producing the same amount of content, but I'm able to focus on the business just as much, if not more.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we were talking about this pre-show. I actually took the courage to write the process down. I recorded a video, in fact, a Loom to explain exactly what happens. And what I found was that the person who took over, Katrina, initially was doing things less well, and I was frustrated. But the more I worked with her to get my process into her hands, and then she took it over, now I don't even look at it. And in fact, the process is now being taken over by Gab and Maria, and it's significantly better than anythanything I ever did on my own. But it was painful. It was really painful letting go.
Yeah, and that's where I'm struggling right now with that, is because my personal brand is my personal brand. It's not the company brand. Goldstein Media is me. Podcast Mastery, my new brand of podcast coaching, is me. So it's like, if I'm going to hand it off to someone, I want it to be as if I did it.
Yeah.
Not as if Steve, Joe, or Bob, or Donna did it. That kind of, the discrepancy in it.
So when the company is really truly only your personal brand, then you really do need to do it yourself. But if you have a corporation like we do at CaliCube, I can pass this on to somebody else and say, this is my podcast, but it's actually representing CaliCube.
Exactly. And that's the thing. And at Goldstein Media, we're a small firm. We have 4 people. But it's still Goldstein Media, Goldstein, Seth Goldstein, that kind of thing. My name's intrinsically involved in it. Whereas you're not Jason CaliCube. So that would be an interesting name.
Thankfully. So in terms of repurposing, to come back to that, you've made the podcast as a founder or CEO, you're on a guest on a podcast, you've made a podcast. What are the best repurposing opportunities for getting your personal brand out there?
It's when the podcast comes out, share it. Yeah, let's hit the guest side of things. Well, let's say I'm a guest on your podcast right now. This comes out. That is literally, it's free media. Jason interviewed me, and I can get out, say, why would I not share this out as part of my brand? Say, hey, oh my God, look what I was on the podcast with. Jason had me on his podcast. This is awesome. I mean, yeah, I'm a bit of a fanboy. You're kind of an OG in the SEO space, and I was kind of like, I've been following your career and all that stuff. So but like when I talk to Rand Fishkin or something like that, like these big names in the SEO space, and I could be intrinsically connected to them almost as an entity, to get a little geeky with SEO terms, that benefits me. So when your show comes out, sharing out the full show, but also getting some clips from it and sharing out the tidbits that you guys found interesting that I said, and sharing those out, because it benefits you, because now you're in my audience, I'm in your audience, and honestly, it's free media for everybody.
Yep.
And it benefits everybody, which is fantastic.
You mentioned the AI for getting the clips out. To what extent has that really improved? It's obviously made things easier, but is it as good as we think it is, or we assume it is?
It's actually pretty clever, because I find that the AI finds, like I have in my podcast, Entrepreneurs Enigma, I have what is the best thing about being an entrepreneur? What keeps you up at night being an entrepreneur? And then the big one is, and I'm going to let everyone who listens knows this one, so it's not a big secret, but what's the most important thing to carry with you all the time? And they can be woo-woo or not. So I used to always just find those clips and clip those out. But I find that AI finds even better clips than that. Sometimes it does fall in and says, oh, that's a good clip. But sometimes the person will say, oh, my phone. I'm like, you can only say my phone so many times for the thing you carry with you all the time to make it worthwhile clip. But the AI finds stuff that's like, I never would have thought, unless I listened to my podcast like with a pen and was looking around for every little snippet. AI saves so much time. Right. I mean, it goofs. I mean, it's not perfect when it spits it out. It's like it ends the sentence a little too quickly. Sometimes it doesn't finish the thought. So you got to go in there and tweak it, but it's not that bad.
All right. Well, the thing I always carry is the red shirt.
Yes, that is your wearing. Yes. I always wear my Goldstein Media shirt. It has my little brand on it down there.
Oh, right. Yeah, but you've got to lift it up to
yeah, you got, unless you sit up straight, like my mom always says, sit up straight. Yeah, you kind of see it there. Yeah.
And when you publish to YouTube, what are the tips and tricks you've got there?
That's fun, because on tips and tricks on YouTube is, number one, just put your podcast up there. If it's an audio podcast only, put your album art in the video and then maybe a little waveform, which AI can put in for you, of your show. Even if you don't have a video podcast, get your show on YouTube. It's the second biggest search engine on the web, or it's one of the top 3. I'm not sure if that's changed yet since yesterday. But the idea is that also put in hashtags in your body of your show notes in there. But also there's a tag section that's hidden now. It never used to be hidden, but it's hidden if you click more and you follow all the prompts and fill that out. Yeah, it takes a little bit more time, but you can put your keywords in there. I find that actually helps Google find you even more. And they're also not trying to decipher smushed together, no spaces between hashtags. You can actually put like spaces in these tags.
Really?
So it could be Jason Barnard, and then have it with the space in the middle, which is nice because it's actually human and machine readable, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, which is brilliant. And what I've seen as well is it's starting to recognize people.
Yeah.
And entities, and it shows them at the bottom. And I hadn't got that before. And now I've got it. Is if I'm on a podcast.
It's kind of creepy.
on a video. Yeah. And it says people in this podcast, it actually has my photo and my name underneath, and it detects that automatically.
It's pretty. It also picks up products sometimes.
Oh wow, cool.
I saw that once or twice on a show that just mentioned it offhand. It wasn't even like a big segment on it. It was just like, hey, I got this 3D printer. Joink down there. There's a cool shopping thing for. I mean, they're obviously capitalizing on it.
Yeah, and that recognition of the person, the company, the product is, you have to have a knowledge panel in Google in order to be recognized there. It's all connected through the knowledge graph. So that's
I actually think YouTube is actually better a search engine than Google itself.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
I find it better. I mean, yeah, you have to watch. You can't just read real fast and do that. You have to watch. But I find that I figure out stuff for house repairs so much better when I can watch Joe, the plumber, fix the faucet. And I can read the transcript, but I can also scrub to the spot. That's where I went wrong. That's why it's leaking out the bottom, and then figure it out. I love YouTube for this. It's a great search engine.
And well, Google are including more and more videos with the directly to the spot in the video for what you're actually searching.
I know,
for.
it's brilliant, and they're accurate, which is scary. It's when they can figure out exactly where the point is that you need to find. It's good and bad. Sometimes you want them to watch a whole video, but
right. Well, I mean, they're looking for the questions, so they do an auto transcript, and I would advise people always hand correct the transcripts. When you've hand corrected it, the machine knows that it's actually more accurate,
more touched by human hands. Exactly.
And then the next thing is, you were talking about creating articles. Yes. So to what extent do you do that, and what's your process?
I tend to try and write at least once a week in the newsletter my monologue. So it will be about something marketing, digital marketing, all that. I will repurpose that oftentimes as a LinkedIn article, just the monologue, and say, hey, you want to read all the goodies that I have below? Go subscribe to my newsletter. So there's a nice little link to that. So then LinkedIn knows, and Google knows, and all the people there know that there's more stuff over on this site. So I'm using rented media smartly. That's a word. Yeah. I'm being smart about my rented media. I'm not putting all my ducks in a LinkedIn newsletter that I then have to not really abuse the API to get the subscriber email addresses out of. Because I had originally had like 4,000 people on my newsletter on LinkedIn, but they don't want you to take it out and monetize it outside their platform.
Sure.
So I kind of snuck around and got the email addresses out of there, wrote everyone a nice email saying, hey, I'm over here now. If you don't want to get it in your inbox, or you only want to read it over on LinkedIn, please just click this gigantic, obnoxious unsubscribe button, and I will not be hurt. And I think I kept like 60-70% of people were like, that's fine.
Well, okay, cool. So
I'm sure LinkedIn wouldn't be happy with me, but whatever.
Do you feel it was a mistake then to build your newsletter on rented space on LinkedIn?
I find that it was good and bad, because I have like 5,000 followers on LinkedIn. So people are going to see me publishing this content there. But then if LinkedIn decides one day that they don't like me and turns my LinkedIn off, then what good is that to me? You kind of want to own your list. So that's the reason why I post my monologue to LinkedIn, but it's still on my list. So some people are getting duplicate, and it's going to happen.
Right. Yeah. So when it's rented space, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Use it as a draw to pull people over something you own.
And spread it across rented spaces too. Yeah. Like put stuff on Blue Sky, put stuff on, God forbid, Twitter, or put stuff on Mastodon, on LinkedIn, on Facebook. Like spread it out. Yeah.
And always pull them into your central owned space, which is, in your personal brand case, your personal website. If your corporate brand, the corporate website.
Yes, and sometimes both places.
Okay, brilliant.
Yeah.
So we have a strategy of podcast guesting or podcast hosting. Yeah. Get it on YouTube, get it out there on the podcast platforms, make sure you optimize for YouTube, make the little short clips, get them out there on social media, republish summaries and ideas and introductions on different platforms, but always pull them back to that central hub, which is your website.
Always put it on your own spot. Yeah, because then you control it. If it goes down, that's your own fault because you didn't pay for your hosting. And that I can help you with. Pay your bills.
So keep control. Thank you so much, Seth. That was absolutely brilliant. It was
so
lovely
fun.
to have you.
It was lovely to be on.
A quick goodbye to end the show. Thank you, Seth.
Your corporate and personal brands are what Google and AI say they are. We can give you back control. CaliCube.